There appears to me, I don't know if it's the same for you, but over the last 10 years, at least since 2016, which was a notable time in US history, um, there's been more and more mistrust in science. And I'm sure COVID contributed to that in some respects. How do you see the way, at least we can talk about Canada and the US and maybe other parts of the world, but why have some people like, why do they see Anthony Fauci as a villain rather than, as a great scientific man and a great person of public health? What happened? What went wrong? How did we go off the rails?
Yeah, I tend to think that it's not something that started in 2016. It's we've been becoming what's called affectively polarized for some time. So I mean, it's probably a good idea to break down what we mean when we say polarized.
Yeah.
So polarization, depending on the researcher you looked at and the year you were doing your research, it could mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. So some people were like, it's just how you feel about one issue or another. So climate change or gun control. Some people thought it meant the way that you feel about people from the other side of the aisle. So do I
Yeah.
love Republicans or do I like Democrats? Or how strong you believe a leader is. Now, when we talk about polarization, we break it down mostly into like two kinds. So the first is what's called affective polarization, which
Mhm.
is, again, how people feel about people on the other side of the aisle. So we measure it by asking people, all right, here's a scale, 1 to 100, left to right, where do you place yourself? And then we ask them, okay, if your kid married somebody from the other side, how mad would you be? Uh,
Mm,
and That's called like feeling thermometer. And there are a bunch of ways you can measure that. So, it's not just if your kid married somebody else, but if they moved in next door or if you
yeah.
worked with them, how would you feel? And on that measure, people are the angriest they've been in many decades in the United States. We're not there in Canada, but we're
Right.
getting there.
Right.
The other way we measure polarization is ideological or issue polarization. So that is like climate change or gun control or abortion, whatever. I think where we went wrong is that we sort of started to change the social norms we use to engage with each other politically.
Mm.
So the rule of thumb is the rule of thumb is on like Twitter or Instagram right now is um, when you're engaging with somebody on the other side, your job is to find as many things about them as possible to attack and tear down and hate and say list all the reasons that they're awful.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and then the even worse, more pernicious social norm is attack on anybody on your side who doesn't do that.
Mm.
So if you're a liberal who says, Donald Trump may have a point when it comes to runaway immigration, then other liberals around you say, "Oh, that guy's not one of us. He's
Right.
out of our circle." And the same is true on the opposite side. If you're a Republican who says maybe gun control under some circumstances, then your fellow Republicans say, "Ah, Rhino,
Mm.
Republican in its own way."
Interesting.
Um,
Interesting.
and so we've adopted these social norms that say you can't ever agree with the other side on anything.